Oh my God, are these tariffs going to destroy our economy? I could do that better. Oh my God, are these tariffs going to destroy our economy?
You know what? I'm gonna go right out there and I'm gonna say it doesn't fucking matter how you say it, Seth. Just say it.
Oh my God. Are these tariffs going to kill our economy?
All right, that's the intro. It's like, oh my God, Seth. Do we need to? That's the last one. It's an extra.
All right, so I've taught economics before, history, government economics. You've actually run a company.
A few of them.
You've run a few of them. So I think we're going to have a little bit of a disagreement here.
Sure.
But that's okay. Tell me your thoughts about these Trump tariffs and what the positive and negative things might be from them.
Okay, mixing history with what I know about tariffs. Yes, tariffs will hurt the economy for a tiny bit, just a small amount of time. And then what happens is it starts influxing money into the government coffers, which allows them to pull money from that and not tax us as much. You know, at the end of the day, if something costs $1,000, you got to get that $1,000 from somewhere. You can either tax us that $1,000 or you can tax the rest of the world that $1,000. And in this case, yes, it's going to hurt a little bit, just a little in the beginning, kind of that prick in the beginning with a needle. We will survive that, and then it will help influx our money into the budget. Now, where does it hurt a little bit? And it does hurt a little. I'm not going to lie. Somebody has to buy that product. And I know everybody loves to say, oh my God, we're going to tax China 25%. And 25% is going to be taxed and we're going to end up eating all that. Well, no, we're not. They're going to spread that out because the market can only bear what it's going to bear. And so in that case, if the market won't bear a full 25%, they'll have to take a hit on that. And in my experience, things have risen 10 to 5%. So when they've done these kind of games before in the past, sure, 25% tariff, 5% gets thrown on me. That's 20% that they have to eat. They have to send to the government. That's 20% I don't have to come up with.
Well, there's two kinds of tariffs. You have revenue tariffs, where the government's just getting a little bit of money. Okay, they want to make money. They want you to be able to put that in. And there's protective tariffs. Tariffs to keep you out of the market. There's also in between.
For the rest of the people in the world, I think, because remember, you're the history buff. I'm the
construction.
Business construction. Guy. I'm the business guy. I think what you're getting at is like in the case of milk to Canada, I've heard it's like 270%. Obviously, that's a tariff that nobody's going to pay. No one's in Canada is going to buy American milk.
Here's what Trump's doing. First off, who pays all taxes, whether they're tariffs or taxes on corporations? Like the left always says, let's tax the evil rich corporations. Who pays that tax? No matter what, who pays it?
At the end of the day, it's us.
Consumers. Anybody who buys something, you pay the tax. So when you go to tax those evil corporations that are providing all these services and goods, you're paying that. Here's what Trump is doing. He knows that the United States buys products. We are a huge purchaser of products. If you want access to our market, you need to play ball. And what presidents in the past didn't understand is that, hey, we control the marketplace. You need to play by our rules. Otherwise, find somebody else to buy it and no one else is buying.
This sounds exactly like the Apple marketplace.
How so?
Well, Apple said, if you want to sell in our marketplace, you have to meet these standards. You have to give us royalties. You have to do all these things so that that app could be sold in the Apple marketplace. We said it in a ramble.
I think, well, yeah, it's access to the market.
Yeah, it's Apple says, you pay us, you give us royalties, you do this, we'll let you into our market.
And countries have a monopoly on their own market.
Absolutely.
And Canada has been very protective of their market.
Yeah.
So what Trump is saying is, you want to sell here, you're going to have to play some ball with us. He's putting these absorbent What's the word?
Exorbitant.
Exorbitant.
There you go. Exorbitant.
He's putting these outlandish tariffs
Sorry.
on all of these other countries, which they know consumers aren't going to pay and that they can't afford to eat. So they're stuck in a position where they have to say, either we don't sell to in the United States and our company will shut down, or we're going to have to play ball. And they'll sit down. Trump is saying, hey, you're going to pay this and you're going to give us access to your markets. And it's like Europe with a lot of the products. We were being held out. The new rule with Trump is we have 0% tariffs on what we send you. You're going to pay us 15%. Why? Because we can buy those products elsewhere. You need us to sell. We're the big buyer out here. And in exchange for that, you're going to let us sell to you. So Europe might not like it. China might not like it. But this is America first. And with Canada, I understand they want to protect their farmers. Great. But you need to sell to us. So you need to start playing ball and make some decisions. And all Trump is doing is saying, hey, we've got what you need. You need to sell to us or you won't exist. And so Trump is playing this great. He has no intention of having 102% tariff on somebody. That's not his goal. His goal is to have a tariff that will fund that will bring revenue into the country. And the truth is, before the 16th Amendment, this country was paid for by tariffs.
But yeah, up until that point, we didn't have income tax. People think that income tax has been around forever. And we didn't. We didn't have income tax. We did it all through the marketplace. We did it all through our commodities.
The 16th Amendment was supposed to be on the top 1% of income earners, and it was supposed to be
top 1%. Doesn't that seem to come up a lot?
And it was supposed to be voluntary.
It was.
So a lot of people...
And we never took it away.
So a lot of the people on the left, they're sitting there going, oh, this is going to destroy the economy. Well, if it would have been a 40% tax, yeah, it could have harmed us, but it's going to hurt the other countries more. But it might have hurt us till we could produce. But at the end of the day, at a certain point, you can only sell a product for so much. So these companies, at the tariffs that we're working out, the end result, the companies are actually eating a ton of it.
Well, and to be fair, as a guy who ran companies, this is something that you have to think about. The market, let's say it's $1,000 for the item. We're going to add 40% on top of that. The market won't bear that.
No.
So you're going to have to figure out a way to cut your product so that you can compete. Because let's say it's $1,000. 40% of $1,000. Quick, Seth. What is it?
40% of $1,000? Hold on a second. 400.
There you go. So $1,400 to buy that same exact item from, I don't know, let's pick a country that isn't too
Botswana.
Botswana.
I'll buy from Botswana all the time.
$1,400 to buy this widget from Botswana. Or $1,000 to buy it from Podunk, Ohio.
Which that would be more protective, but that's going to help American companies.
Well, that's the thing. Now, here's the catch. So now Botswana is going to have to go, okay. And I understand you can cut things way too low, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about companies like who are making hand over fist profit by sending these things to China. That's really what we're talking about. We're not talking about the little tiny farm village. And so in this case, they're like, boy, we could charge $1,200 and we'll eat the $200. The whole thing is that only helps the American product. Because now the American product can charge $11.99.
Well, more than that, it's helping manufacturing in the United States.
That's what people don't realize.
And that's going to bring it back. You don't want it so high where people can't afford products.
Yes.
But you do want to have some encouragement to bring some of that manufacturing, not all of it, but some of it back and build that revenue. But here's what I really love. I don't know how many times I hear the Democrats going, oh, we need to tax the rich. We need to tax these corporations, these big, humongous corporations. that are making so much money. Well, it doesn't matter if you tax them directly or if they're manufacturing in China and bringing it here, you're taxing the company. It's going to end up being paid by the consumer anyways. But what I'm noticing, the Democrats are panicking now. That they don't know what to do with Trump because he's been right. Yet again, these companies are having to eat that out of their profit, but also it's getting us revenue in this country. And the inflation rate, it's at 2.6% right now. That is not perfect.
Under
Perfect
2 is better.
Under 2 is better, but we're working our way there. The highest inflation rate under Joe Biden, 9.1%. Now, 2.6 is not perfect. We want to get it down to 2, but for the love of God, the man has been in office 6 months, 7 months. So you have to at least give him a little time to work the magic. I give you a year.
Well, I'll be honest. In my opinion, people always said, "Oh, we want a common man to be president. We want a common man to be president." No, we want a businessman to be president. We're in business here. And I've always argued. In fact, the first time Trump ran, I got a vehement argument with a very conservative friend of mine. I mean, actually more conservative than me. And we got in a huge argument about it. And it was one of the things, and he said, "Why do you like this Trump guy so much?" And I'm like, listen, he's had to worry about somebody else's electric bill. He's had to make payroll. And if you've never had to make payroll, that's a whole nother stress in your life. That's a whole nother worry in your life. When you worry about somebody else's electric bill, not your electric bill, not your business's electric bill, not your investors, you worry about Joe, who's working for you, given his 40 hours a week. That's the guy I want. And if you've never done that, you're never going to get my vote.
Just to make one thing clear, Jeremy, you've run a business.
I've run multiple.
Who gets paid first, you or your employee?
My employees every time. There have been times we've discussed this. Yeah. In 2008, during the recession, I literally went almost 2 years without a paycheck. I kept my employees. I didn't keep all of them. I couldn't keep all of them.
So the only way you make money is if you work hard and make it work, but you're the last person paid.
Absolutely.
So you have all the pressure on you to keep it going till you can actually get a little something. And Trump understands that. When I first knew Trump was going to win, I knew he was going to win. Hands down, no questions asked. When he came down that escalator and I watched that first speech, boom, I knew that day he would be president. And I walked into where I was working. One of the secretary, her name was Betty, asked me, "Hey, what did you think of that?" I said, "That guy's going to be the president." She goes, "Really? You think he's going to be the president?" I said, "Hands down, I knew at that moment he was going to win." And he won. There's only one thing that I am really shocked at. Yes, Joe Biden brought in 20 million illegal aliens. But apparently, somewhere along the line, he found 19 million voters that have somehow disappeared in the last 4 years. They're just gone. But that's another story.
Well, while you're looking that up, I'm gonna go on to a little tangent here.
Go ahead.
As a guy who ran small businesses in Little America, the problem here is we talk about all this and we talk about Reagan's trickle-down economics and we talk about all this, but nobody really understands it. And so I make it a point. I actually work with my kids and try and get them to understand this. And it's funny because they tell me, my economics teacher doesn't tell me this. And it's interesting because it's like, listen, you buy a pair of shoes. You can buy them from Nike and you can buy them in Cambodia. I think that's actually a place that Nike makes shoes. That supports the people in Cambodia. That's a wonderful thing. But what if you bought those shoes from small town New Hampshire? Wouldn't that money that you bought those shoes from go to the wages of the people in New Hampshire? Those people in New Hampshire are going to get a paycheck. Those people in New Hampshire are going to buy groceries. Those groceries are going to be purchased at a grocery store in New Hampshire. So you paid taxes. They went in there. They got their taxes out of their paycheck. They put their taxes in when they bought sales tax through groceries in New Hampshire. Now the cashier got paid. The cashier now goes and spends his money to go buy McDonald's food at a little town in New Hampshire. And he pays taxes on his food. and he buys his food in New Hampshire. And McDonald's pays the guy. And oh yeah, the guy needs to buy new shoes.
You're talking like the money keeps moving on.
Stays inside the country. The entire circle stays inside the country. None of it left the country. That's the point of these tariffs.
I think
It's to punish you to buy them outside the country. And if you buy it all inside the country, a perfect example, Ford. Just on the threat of these tariffs, Ford has already opened 3 plants in the United States.
Well, let me throw something else out your way. Hypothetical. It starts costing me 2% more to pay for whatever product I buy. Ford truck, 2% more. Now, Ford is like, okay, they opened 3 plants. I didn't know that number. You did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy, you're on welfare. You're sitting there and going, oh, I'm collecting welfare. Well, all of a sudden, the government's saying, Jeremy, your welfare check, we're now getting rid of it. You need to get a job. All of a sudden, you're now working for Ford. We're not paying you welfare. That welfare was coming out of my taxes, so now they might be able to lower my taxes. You're now actually earning a living off of Ford, not off of Seth's hard-earned money through taxes. And this would only make sense, or might make more sense, if the president was saying, look, we're getting all this revenue in from tariffs, maybe we should give some of this money back to the people through lower taxes. Oh, wait, that's exactly what he's doing. He's getting people off the government teat, forcing you to go back to work. And that way the government will need less money to help you out with welfare. Now, you do have these people saying, look, I have 8 kids. What am I supposed to do? The government is not there to provide for everything you want.
No.
I'm sorry, it's not. Well, you know what? If the government giveth, the government can take it away. So the way Trump is playing this, these tariffs are working perfectly.
You know, it's funny you bring up the whole welfare and canceling thing. Holland had the same exact problem. And at one point, I want to say it was like 2 years of unemployment you could get from Holland. And you know what they found out?
People went back to work.
In the last 4 months. In
Absolutely.
the last 4 months, no matter how long they made it, in the last 4 months is when people went back to work. So you know what Holland did? Guess how long their unemployment
4
is?
months.
Exactly 4 months. You know what their unemployment rate is? Almost nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Because people go, I got to get a job. I've only got 4 months. I got to find a job.
And with that,
see you at the next stop.
I've been doing extras at the end.
Yeah, that's the one. It's like, oh my God, Seth, you don't have to.
There you go.
You know what? I'm going to go right out there and I'm going to say, it doesn't fucking matter how you say it, Seth. Just say it.